Hey there guys, so I'm sitting here and trying to get an idea of the dynamic range of the new Autel EVO. And one of the things that's unique about Intel asking me to take a look at the EVO is that they specifically have asked me to look at the quality of the sensor. So we're not done here, but I'm getting a lot of questions. So we're doing a quick eval, and like I said, it is quick and dirty. But let me give you an idea how this is actually working. If you look over here, you can see I have a LED light. It is set to daylight because that's the color temperature we are usually gonna shoot at. So outdoor at daylight is the color temperature we are most interested in. Moving on over here, we have the main box. This box on the one side here, can you see that even? It has a grayscale from the one end to the other. And when we illuminate that grayscale, then we see it from this side here, and the camera in the drone sees the grayscale right here. And right now it is down, so to get the correct exposure, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the shutter, and I'm gonna drag the shutter a little bit. What I'm looking for is that the first couple of steps here, I need those to burn out. Once those burns out, we know we have oversaturated and overexposed the sensor, and then we're gonna move down and see how that goes. We're gonna overexpose. I already did this exposure here. I'm gonna go down to 40 and I'm gonna burn out a few more, and we're gonna take another picture here. Hello. I have set the camera to record JPEG plus RAW because basically we want to take a look at the DNG in Photoshop, and we want to see how much of this is hanging on in both ends. So we want to try to flatten the curve. I'm sure you're all familiar with an S-curve. What we're gonna apply here is a reverse S-curve. So we're gonna try to lower the top and lift the shadows so we can see just how many steps we get before they start clipping and there's no longer any difference between each step. So that's basically the setup you're seeing right here, having some priority package sitting there. And here's our radio. We're looking at it on the Shield tablet because I don't have an Android phone. We're shooting at 100 ISO. The reason for the 100 ISO is the least amount of noise, and also, of course, at 100 ISO, the signal has not been amplified. That means you have the widest dynamic range, and that's what we're interested in. When we looked at the MavicPRO last year, which is of course what we're comparing to here, we found about 8.5 stop of dynamic range, and we found a bit of a bump in the curve. It was not completely smooth. What it should be is the gradient should be smooth from the lightest to the darkest, and we found at about 1/3. There was a little dimple, and you can see that if you go to my blog fpvguide.com and look for the file or for the blog post with the camera shootout. You can also just Google FPV guy Autel DJI camera shootout from back when we did that with the Autel X Pro versus the Mavic versus the P4. And the X Pro back then did amazingly. So what we're trying to find out now is, since we already did all those measurements, how is this gonna fare? And the only way to figure that out is to take a look at the GNDs I've recorded now and see what they look like. Well, gents, holy snot. I just finished downloading the JPEGs and the DNGs from the Autel camera, and as I mentioned before on the unbox, it's an optical glass grade lens on this. We haven't tested that yet, but I have been really curious about the quality and the dynamic range. This, honestly, we're talking holy snot category stuff here. I'm not kidding you. Mostly because we're looking at a backpackable drone, less than 1 kilogram. Let me show you what I've got. So, for starters, I opened up one of these DNGs here, and I am gonna put it up at fpvguide.com, and I'm gonna make a camera eval blog post here in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna upload this DNG so you can go and check it yourself, because I really want you guys' input. I just did a really preliminary check here. You know, I did it really quickly here in one of the offices, just really quickly, and I am measuring at least 11.75 stops of dynamic range, which is pretty freaking amazing. Honestly, guys, this is really good stuff. So let me show you what I got here. So here it is, all right? So you can see what I see. Can you see what I see now? So kind of like that. Okay, so we have this thing here, and it is burned out down here, and it's blacked out here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and do full recovery. See, that right there brought us more detail up in this end. And then we're gonna go in and we're gonna lift the blacks as much as we can, and we're gonna put some fill light in. Now when I put fill light in, we're lifting up the shadows here, and here's what really blows my mind. The last steps of this curve are, I can see a differentiation, a very, very small difference between the two last steps here and all the way down to here. Now when I go back again, and I'm gonna lower the recovery, let's see which one does most for us. I'm gonna lower the fill light because I wanna see where this ends. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the exposure, and look at this. I'm actually getting steps all the way up to the end here. I don't know if my phone is capturing this, but we are getting details all the way in, up to the end of this wedge and all the way to the other end. That, guys, even though it's not a direct, it means by just playing with the DNG tools right here, I'm able to get essentially the information that has differentiation in both ends of this wedge. So in order for me to do a really proper evaluation, I'm obviously gonna have to reshoot this, and I may have to shoot more than one bracket so that we can kind of put them together in the middle with the same RGB value and stretch them out and see how many we can really count. But I'm all the way across. That means we are in 12 stops of dynamic range territory with Autel's EVO. And guys, 12 stops of dynamic range territory is remarkable. So as soon as I get this uploaded, the GNG and the JPEG file, to fpvguy.com, go check it out. I'm gonna try to have it up as soon as I get home and get a cup of coffee and can upload it. But I think I'm gonna edit this video and get it uploaded because you guys have been bugging the snot out of me, asking how good is this camera really? And I can tell you right now, it's really dang good. It is probably the best camera, as Autel said, the best camera in class. And I'm gonna have to say, preliminary shots right now suggest that they are absolutely right. This could very well be the absolutely best camera in the folding drone class at this time. Dang, guys, I am more than a little in kind of a state of shock here. I'm very surprised that this sensor tested that good. I want to put that a little bit in perspective for you. When I got my MavicPRO, I did a camera test, and the MavicPRO tested to right about 8.5, maybe 8.5 plus, to be on the generous side, stops of dynamic range. And we all thought that was pretty dang good. Now, then we tested the Phantom 4 Pro, and the Phantom 4 Pro tested at 11, maybe 11 plus stops. And the X5 camera also tests at the 11 stops-ish. So having a small Mavic-sized drone test 11.5 plus stop, that is frankly absolutely amazing. I want you guys to go back to November 20-ish when I uploaded those tests and take a look at the Inspire and the Phantom 4 Pro test we did. It's really real. The Autel tested more than 11, I would say almost 12 stops of dynamic range just on a fairly rough test. That's more than I expected. Guys, click down here, make sure you subscribe, and stay tuned because we're gonna have to look closer at this, a lot closer. It's gonna take some time, so I'm not gonna have that up tomorrow, but we're gonna try to fiddle this and get some very accurate numbers. And I'm gonna have to break out my maybe the Inspire, but more importantly, the Phantom 4 Pro, and definitely the Mavic, and we're gonna have to test all of them and look at the files again, and you'll see all of those uploaded for comparison at fpvguide.com and also in a video. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you click on subscribe. See you guys later.